are bracing for a whole lot of company, and my grandchildren have a very favorite breakfast that they request when they come. They don't know that it's inexpensive, that it's highly nutritious, and it's very easy to make, but this is what they ask for, and they ask for it even over the fancy cold cereals and the other things that we might have on hand. Scrambled eggs, bacon, any of that, this is what they ask for. So I'm going to show you how I make the mix ahead, and then I can just portion out the amount that I want. And I even will make a few batches of batter so that if they're getting up at different times or eating at different times, that I can make the batter fresh each time. So I'm starting with 8 cups of freshly ground whole wheat flour. Make sure that your whole wheat flour is fresh, because whole wheat flour has a short shelf life. It will last 6 months on the shelf, and then it will start to taste kind of rancid, and so, or stale tasting. And so make sure you're starting with fresh flour, and that way if your pancake mix sits on the shelf for a while, it's not going to go bad as fast. And then I'm adding to that a 1/2 cup of sugar, and then I'm going to add 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder, and then 4 teaspoons of baking soda. So let's see. Then we want 4 teaspoons of salt. So this is a tablespoon. So that is 3 teaspoons, and then 1 more teaspoon. I can measure it in my hand pretty well. Okay, so that's good. Then, so we've got the leavening, we've got the sugar and the flour, the saltiness so that it has a good flavor, doesn't taste like paste. And then I'm going to add a cup of milk powder. Next, stir it all together really well until it's very well incorporated. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of oil to this dry mixture. So I'm going to have to mix this in really, really carefully, because I don't want it to clump up. So I'm going to kind of drizzle it in. You can leave the oil out if you are worried about it becoming rancid, and adding the oil in advance is going to make it so that it doesn't have a very long shelf life, because the oil will tend to go rancid faster than the other ingredients will. But if you're going to use it within 3 months, it will be fine. So I'm just kind of mixing it in so that that oil will be incorporated, not too big of chunks involved in that. Okay, so that is ready to go and be turned into pancakes. So assuming that this has been on my shelf for a while and it's time to make breakfast, what I would do is I would start by measuring a cup of the pancake mix into a bowl, adding an egg, so 1 cup, 1 egg, and then 1 cup of water. One cup of mix, 1 cup of water, 1 egg. You just stir it together. And that's going to be the right consistency for pancake batter. Now at first, it's going to seem like it's too thin. Let it sit for a few minutes, and while you're letting that pancake batter sit, start heating your griddle. Medium high is the way you want your griddle heated. So we're just going to set this over here for a minute, and while the griddle is heating, which it will take a few minutes to heat, I'm going to show you how to make this topping. Now this is super gourmet, and this is what the kids really go for. And You might laugh at my definition of super gourmet, but it is very, very tasty, and the kids are eager to have this. So we're going to start with 2 cups of berries. Now these can be frozen, blueberries frozen, raspberries frozen, any kind of fruit. But 2 cups of the fruit, the whole fruit. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch and a half of a cup of lemon juice. Now this is going to make up, if your fruit is kind of bland, like peaches tend to be kind of bland, blueberries don't have a real strong flavor, but the lemon juice is going to be giving it a really nice pop of flavor. So we've got the cornstarch, the fruit, the lemon juice, then we're going to need, this is a half a teaspoon of artificial sweetener. Oh no, this is sucralose, and so it's 600 times sweeter than sugar. I'm going to use a scant quarter of a teaspoon. In fact, I'm going to try to get it closer to be an eighth. An eighth of a teaspoon should be plenty for this. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of water. So I can see, okay, I've added my 2 cups of water. I'm going to give this, actually I don't want to use that one because that one has pancake batter on it. I'm going to give this a good stir so that the cornstarch is completely incorporated and that sucralose is well mixed. With such a tiny amount, you want to make sure that it gets well dissolved, and then taste it. Plenty sweet, plenty sweet. And that was about an eighth of a teaspoon of that pure sucralose. I'm going to set that to go to cook for about 4 minutes, and then this is probably hot enough, so it's time to start baking the pancakes. So we're going to give this a quick spray, and they should make a nice sizzle as they go on. As you can see, 1 cup of the pancake mix makes about 10 palm-sized pancakes. They're very light and tasty, and they have kind of the nutty flavor of whole wheat. But you're going to love this topping that goes on them too. Really makes them special. All right, I'll put this here. You can get a look at it. It's heating up, but it hasn't started to thicken yet, because the cloudiness will go away once it starts to thicken. So that was 4 minutes in the microwave. You can do this on the stovetop just as easily, but the microwave is even faster. I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. Okay, so this ended up taking about 7 minutes on high in the microwave. I interrupted its cooking once to give it a good solid stir with this whisk, and it kind of broke up the blueberries into bits, and it will break up whatever fruit that you have. So if you want chunks of fruit, you might do it on the stove where you can stir it a little bit more gently. But it's quite thin. If you like it thicker, add an extra tablespoon of cornstarch. But you can see that it's a very beautiful breakfast. So now I'm going to enjoy this with Jeff for our supper, and I'm going to put that mix that I made up in a Ziploc bag so that it'll be ready to go when the grandkids get here. Hey, thanks for watching. It's just delicious.